If you are a gun owner and you live in the following states: West Virginia, Arizona, Alabama, Arkansas, Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and South Dakota, you're going to want to watch this video. And if you don't live in those states, you're also going to want to watch this video. The attorneys generals for these states made some news the last couple days, and I want to tell you about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, the premier source for Second Amendment news. If it is Second Amendment news you're after, please consider subscribing to this channel. This is where you'll find it on a daily basis, and I hope you enjoy the videos. So please hit the thumbs up, share it with some folks, and don't forget to toggle that notification bell to on, which brings me to my first announcement here. It's been a while, but I've heard a lot of people asking for an email list, and how do we know what you're doing? God forbid, this channel goes away. And we have an official email list that's finally launched. If you're not on the list, I will have a link down below. Right now, it's going to be emailing you the videos I put up, because a lot of people don't get to see the videos, or they don't get the notifications. So you'll have a list of the videos I put up that week, and if there's any other news that I think that needs to get out without having to worry about social media, we will have it there as well, to include if something happens, where to go, or other breaking news. So link is down below. You can join up, and you're going to get an email to verify that you want on the email list. Okay, so it's not spam. It's just verifying you want to do it. So that'll be an easy way for us to keep in touch. That's off of all these crazy platforms. Okay, so let's talk about what I mentioned, all these states, what they're doing. Well, on Friday, this came out, and this is 20 attorneys general who bound together and made comments on the frame and receiver debacle with the ATF. And I did a video. You'll have to excuse me. We have a hurricane, literally, Hurricane Henri, actually just got stepped down to a tropical storm in the last half hour. But that's outside, and you'll hear wind perhaps in the background, depending on how much this microphone picks up, and it's pouring. So if you hear it, I apologize. There's nothing I can do. It's going to rain for 2 days here. So I already talked about how some members of Congress stepped up and made comments on behalf of the Second Amendment and gun owners to push back on the ATF, to tell them that they don't have the power to do what they want to do, and to basically get in line. Now, 27 out of 435 is not a significant number, but now there's 27 state attorneys general that have jumped on. It came out with a letter that I'm going to read you a couple excerpts from, but I'll have a link to it below. It's 21 pages long, but it's pretty good. It goes into the history of what a split frame or receiver was and how they started like in the 1800s. And the ATF is just trying to violate law. Law specifically with the the ability to build your own gun, whether it's an 80% lower or whatever. The left is saying that this, 80% ghost guns are the next big gun violence issue, and we have to stomp it out. Whereas these attorneys general are saying, actually, the ability to build your own firearm as an individual or a business has existed forever in this country, and it is something to be celebrated. It's a right. It's not a gun violence problem. If you live in one of these states, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Delaware, Washington, D.C. is not a state, but they want to be, Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, or Washington, then your state attorneys general have written letters and comments in favor of the frame or receiver redefining and banning of ghost guns or parts. And what's also interesting through this letter from the 20 in favor of killing this new rulemaking proposal is that it says, they say, these are all attorneys, that the ATF, through the Gun Control Act, they don't have the ability to regulate parts. And that is something that they're trying to do behind the scenes. They want to be able to regulate parts. They want to say you can't buy those parts kits because you're going to build a lightsaber of death. So that is definitely something they're trying to do, is to regulate parts so that people can't not only build 80% lowers, but you can't repair your own gun without violating some made-up law. So on the screen here, you're going to see a quote from West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey. He said, "Private individuals and businesses have a right to assemble firearms for their own use, a fact borne out in early American history and expressly recognized by the Gun Control Act. The Second Amendment is a core tenet of our Constitution, and this regulation would treat the activity of assembling firearms parts as a problem to be stamped out rather than a right and tradition to be respected. I'm going to show you one other quick quote from this 21-page document that they all put their name to. That was pretty cool too. It says, by allowing ATF to decide for itself which firearms it will regulate, unconstrained by Congress's guidance, the proposed rule is unconstitutional. And just a quick snippet, this is, you can see page 1 of this document, and it's addressed to Marvin Richardson, who is the current acting director of ATF. And it starts out by saying ATF has proposed a rule that would substantially expand federal regulation of firearm parts manufacturers. The rule, as proposed, appears to be an effort to regulate firearm parts, which is beyond the scope of ATF's authority under the Gun Control Act of 1968. Moreover, the sweeping definition of firearms receiver that it proposes would be impractical to apply. And worse still, the rule attempts to solve this self-imposed problem by granting ATF unconstitutionally unrestrained discretion over which receivers, under the newly expanded definition, would in fact be subject to regulation. Equally concerning is the proposed rule's lack of consideration of the half-century of reliance interests in the existing definition of firearm and receiver, as ATF acknowledges that a large number of parts manufacturers would likely be put out of business if the proposed rule is adopted. It's another backdoor gun control by the Biden administration to try to put gun manufacturers, parts manufacturers, accessory manufacturers out of business. That is, their end goal is to disarm you, the U.S. citizen, who has an inherent right that is recognized, not granted by the U.S. Constitution. It's not given to you by the government. You have the right to keep and bear arms, to defend yourself, and it doesn't stop at a dotted line on a picture or a map. So like I said, I'll have this 21-page document linked down below, just under the link for my new email list. Check that out, guys and gals. Please sign up for that just in case something happens to this channel as the push for more gun control goes on, and I put out more news of how to stop these clowns and make you aware of what they're doing. But that document is really well written. If you haven't kind of followed along, take a glance at this this document. It'll help educate you and others on exactly what these clowns, the AFT, ATF, are trying to do. All right, guys. Till we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. See you on the next one. Take care, everybody.